Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Student of the Game. I am Kyle Nash, the Student of the Game. And listen, if you're here, chances are you like talking sport. We're glad you're doing it here with us. I don't care what the game is. At the end of the day, I still try my best to be a student of it. And listen, in this particular instance, we all know that I'm going to spend time talking about number 58 here very shortly. And listen, I have gotten many of the well wishes and condolences from the game as a 49er fan. I appreciate it. Well, I ain't that mad at it, but I'll get into that in a minute. Here's the thing I am mad at. NFL awards. Here's the thing. This might be one of the better years, in my opinion, as far as who won what and how things turned out in certain ways and other things like that. Or at least it should have been, right? While Christian McCaffrey is the actual NFL MVP, and had the Niners won, he surely would have been the game's MVP with 160 all-purpose yards plus, right? They gave it to Lamar Demetrius Jackson. Not here to complain about that. I think that's a compromise I'm willing to make with the media, who is just not imaginative enough to pick anybody other than a quarterback. And really at this point, we need to create another non-quarterback MVP award. And that's the drum I'm going to start beating when it comes to the NFL honors. We'll leave it at that. Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett's a little odd. Wasn't my choice, but I'm not necessarily mad at it. Listen, I said on this and many other shows, whether it's here on the Student of the Game, Earnestly Speaking podcast, bing, or the Huddle Up podcast, bing, or even maybe with Mark Moses on 1560 AM, The Fan in Melbourne. Bing, Mark Moses show, of course. Any and all of the above. I've said the Browns were an underrated defense, and Myles Garrett giving the Browns some shine is appropriate. I was happy with Stefanski getting Coach of the Year. I also think it's perfectly accurate and proper that it happens by a single vote. Technically, in my opinion, you should have had co-coaches of the year, but they released the vote tallies and, well, technically Stefanski won by one vote. Well, no, the award should have been split. That's really the correct answer here as far as actual performances. But listen, it's like in the Oscars, some years you have several great movies that compete, where in other years, Kevin Stefanski is the MVP, and other years, D'Amico Ryans would dominate the MVP voting with what he did, coming in with a rookie quarterback, with a team that had the first round overall pick, with a team that has struggled and then turned things around with a rookie quarterback. No disrespect to CJ Stroud, because he did a great job, was the shoe-in for Rookie of the Year. Even some complete morons out there still try to give it to Puka Nacua, who, again, same problem. Other years would have gotten the award, but didn't, because CJ Stroud was that dude. Straight the bleep up. Had a lot less support than Puka Nacua, but nobody wants to talk about that. Apparently, we don't need to. Stroud won the award, but I digress. Say what you will. I had Will Anderson Jr. as a Student of the Game Rookie of the Year. The media matched me today, or that day. So, those are all things that I was pretty in lockstep with. However, it's funny. For all the hit pieces I had to sit through attacking Roger Goodell in the league about concussion protocols, for all the time spent with Will Smith doing his African accent in concussion, tell the truth, right? Remember that? Not a bad performance by him, by the way. For all the ripping of the NFL and hearing about how they're nothing but a corporate soulless face and all of this stuff, to which, by the way, to some element is absolutely true. Let me be clear about that. But to see, air quotes, fellow media members of the lame stream, allow Joe Flacco, a dude that by every measure definitely did a good job. Maybe again, that same theme. In other years, Joe Flacco deserves the award. But what I can't figure out is in a world where I hear about whining and complaining about player safety and how the NFL has no regard for players, these media members come out here with a straight expletive deleted face and keep a man who literally came back from the dead out of the first place spot is nothing more than disgusting. Joe Flacco played 5 total games. Meanwhile, Brock Purdy also had a major surgery and took a team to the Super Bowl. Tua Tagovailoa, the life of his career was outright questioned with the concussions, took the Dolphins to their first playoff game. Folks, this is what recency bias looks like. And that's without me coming in with the obvious truth that Damar Hamlin defied death. And this time in the offseason or some other scandal or some other player's going to get hurt and some idiot's going to talk about player safety as if I'm supposed to give a damn what you think. Joe Flacco. Obviously, I was impressed by the story. Obviously, I would have given him a 3rd or 4th place vote. Obviously, he was worth the time and mention he had. And some idiots, no disrespect to E.J. Christian, and some idiots even try to convince me that the Browns are a Super Bowl threat. And I will grant you, I said throughout, the argument can be made because of their defense, accidents might happen. I wouldn't have called them a threat. I would have called them a long shot. Joe Flacco did all that right after he pooed the bed and got eliminated in the playoffs by throwing pick sixes. You know, doing Joe Flacco-ish. But Damar Hamlin shoved the Grim Reaper's sickle up his rear. The NFL had player safety actually somewhat on lock, a.k.a. the system worked here, folks. A dude died on the field and lived to tell the tale. And what do? Give the award to a guy that played 5 damn weeks of football. This isn't just a colossal failure. You should be embarrassed, but nobody will be because they're too damn self-absorbed to understand what the hell they just did. For all the people that want to try to tell me about player safety, for all the people that want to try to tell me they're protecting the players, you're proving your bullshit. That's all I got to say about that. Anyways. So, yeah, a football game actually happened, believe it or not. There's a segue for you. Anyways, yeah. So here's the thing. Speaking of a lot of BS being spewed, you know how I knew that this was a close game, folks? The only thing the press had to complain about was members of the 49ers, or at least immediately after the game. Don't worry. There's still plenty of garbage takes out there. Let me be clear. But the only thing they had to complain about is some of the Niners players didn't know the rules to overtime. Listen, I get it. It's a bad look when your fullback who goes to Harvard says he didn't know the overtime rules. I don't think that determined the outcome of the game at all, in my mind. I'm just throwing that out there, okay? Like, so if anybody can tell me why they think that determined the outcome of the game, listen, at the SoTG, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, Student of the Game on Facebook. Please tell me how it did. I will hear you out and promise I won't publicly laugh at you. I reserve the right to snicker to myself while I look at your response on my phone if I think it's appropriate. But, I mean, some of the Chiefs players even admitted to not knowing the postseason overtime rules, which is interesting because the argument could be made that they were changed due to events that occurred against the Chiefs. I would argue that's even more egregious, despite the fact they won the damn football game, considering how much postseason overtime has infected life in the Reid/Mahomes administration of late. I know Josh Allen has it burned into his brain, poor guy. But no, listen, I joke about that. But, we're not sitting here saying the Chiefs got lucky winning in overtime when their players didn't know the overtime rules. That's a ridiculous take to me. But give the Niners a bit of credit. As much credit as you can, a losing team, right? Patrick Mahomes II got 333 yards. They also threw it 46 times. I had said that a game where Patrick Mahomes II throws the ball 40 times, in this case plus additional 6, right? That is a less disturbing occurrence for me as a football analyst than Jared Goff. That's a problem when he throws the ball 40 times. I called that out in the playoff game in the NFC Championship game against the Niners. Mahomes doing it didn't bother me so much. Patrick Mahomes II leading the Chiefs in rushing is actually a reflection of how good this defense was, having to flush Patrick out and have him remind the world that he's running the football. This would be the second consecutive Super Bowl of the 3 MVPs that he's won for the game, where his legs, in my opinion, was the deciding factor in him getting the MVP. Okay? That's kind of where I sit with all of that. I feel like 463 yards to the Chiefs in an overtime game isn't a bad performance per se by the Niners. Niners, too, of course, themselves getting 365 yards of offense. And there's some factors in there, shorter fields and things like that got involved. I know people rip Kyle Shanahan for his conservative play calling. The Jawan Jennings passing touchdown, I thought was proof of aggressive play calling. And the dude in question, by the way, not only threw a touchdown, but caught one from Brock Purdy, who did not have it. Riddle me this, Batman. Who on your bingo card had Brock Purdy with fewer turnovers than Patrick Mahomes II? No, you didn't. You're lying. I don't care if you're in the Bay Area or not. Even if you're in Santa Cruz, no one takes that bet. Okay, Brewster's Millions might have been involved. That's about the only way, okay? Not a thing. Not going to happen, right? Turnovers were the key. Listen, if there was a turning point in the game, and I'm not complaining, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not even mad at Ray McLeod for his effort to recover it. The argument could be made he should have fallen on it. I don't believe any NFL punt returner is coached to fall on the ball. I think they are all wired at that level to pick the ball up and run. As the argument could be made, and I would make it, they should be. Their job is to advance the ball, not just survive the play. If you're just trying to survive the play when you reach the NFL as a punt returner, you are, in fact, not a good punt returner in this league. And maybe that's true of Ray McLeod. Maybe it isn't. I'm not here to evaluate him. I think, because if you remember in the broadcast, first he was chastised. Why did he go for it? Oh, wait, it hit the guy. He totally should have gone for it. He just didn't come up with it. Had he done so, we're not having this conversation. Is this up there with Sean Payton's Super Bowl win where he has the onside kick at after the half bounce off of a Colts player? That was a key element in securing the victory in question. No, I don't even think it's that bad, because Sean Payton's decision was a bad one and he got rewarded for it. It shouldn't have worked. This is just football gods getting involved. Now, did it give us what may be the best Super Bowl ever to have been played? Maybe so. Maybe so. Right? If you don't have this as top 5, I'm not the guy that normally does this, but if you don't have this Super Bowl in your top 5 most compelling games, you don't know ball. I hate that term, but I think it's out of line, but it's right here. Going full Falcon from Falcon and the Winter Soldier there, right? There were a lot of things in this game that were impressive by both sides. I feel like, we expected, or at least I expected, the Chiefs defense to show up, right? What did I say? At least if he gets 2 sacks, 2 TFLs, or 2 turnovers, the Chiefs win the game. He got 2 quarterback hits. I don't know that counts, but also he got a butt ton of pressures. Clearly one, by the way, that took a touchdown off the board when someone broke open and he was in Brock Purdy's face, and he just missed the throw. Right? That was a game changer, and if you didn't think Chris Jones was going to be that in this defense, you just are under a rock. Not only did I tell you, I think that's even when the lamestream media was with you on, and if you wanted to avoid Nick Wright's homerism, I don't blame you. Fred Warner was himself a beast, but Creed Humphrey has video out there of making great blocks on him in the second level. Nick Bosa was making a case for a first half MVP candidate with the way he was holding down the Chiefs defense. When I look at all the players that had defensive stats for the 49ers, the most unfortunate one is Greenwald missing due to that freak injury when all he's doing is running back out onto the field. But I'm not even going to pick that out as an excuse, because this Niners defense still did enough to hold Patrick LaVon Mahomes II to 19 points in regulation. But Kyle, they allowed 3 straight scoring drives, and it's not often you make Patrick LaVon Mahomes settle for field goals, but this defense was doing it, which leads me into, I don't have a problem with Kyle Shanahan taking the ball to open overtime. You want to go out there, you want to set the tone. Patrick LaVon Mahomes II had just recently scored, right? He had just recently, most recently, I should say, not just recently, but just recently got a field goal to secure, what is it? I think it was 3 straight scoring drives, something like that. Like the Niners having an 11-minute drive to open, or not an 11-minute drive, sorry, opening the quarter with about a 4.5-minute drive to get a touchdown to answer Patrick LaVon Mahomes II to take the lead. By the way, that's what Brock Purdy doing his bleeping job looks like, if you needed a reminder. Much as Cowboy fans want to hate on the Niners because they're dumb and don't know good football, Purdy got Romo'd, folks. I said it. Except he didn't mishandle a kick. Hashtag not a holder. But, yeah, I know there are people out there that are criticizing the Niners taking the overtime and the ball first. I don't see it. Having Brock Purdy come out there to not, and don't give me the defense is tired, by the way. Both defenses are tired. That's not the answer. That's not what happened here. Stop it. Do better. Okay? That's just lazy analysis. Oh, but it's so intelligent. The game lasted a long time, so players were tired. Really, Sherlock? Listen, I done already said bullish earlier in the show. I don't want to tell you no ish, Sherlock, but here we are, right? That's a take so bad I almost want to curse again. Everybody's tired. It's effing overtime of an NFL game. Oh, by the way, the most important of the year for the championship of the league, of the world, right? Queen plays after you win this game, bitches. Okay? Stop it. Do better. Stop stealing my money. All right? Nobody's thinking about the fact. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. Props to my guy. See, I'm going to shout out Big Jim. He's like, oh, you talked about me on your show again. No, I said something positive. Shut up. Big Jim tweeted it out best and expressed it pretty well. An opportunity to put yourself in position to win the game and not have Brock Purdy staring down the barrel of Patrick LaVon Mahomes II scoring a touchdown and possibly getting the conversion, which by all accounts in the postgame press, the Chiefs said they were going to go for 2. I think it was Reed, actually, Andy Reid, that said they were going to go for 2 had they scored. Really put the pedal to the metal. Whether I agree with that or not, that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to put Purdy in a position. All right, young fella, show us what you're working with, right? Well, instead, Kyle Shanahan, and rightly so, kept a hot Patrick LaVon Mahomes II on the sideline as long as he could. And to the credit of the Chiefs, man, listen, You down to 3 seconds in the first overtime to secure the victory? That's good football. That is quality damn football. Not some trash where the Patriots got rescued by fate and garbage coaching, where the Falcons choked it away for the first overtime game that left everybody outside of the state of Massachusetts sad. No, this is what an overtime football game should look like. Kyle, I'm so sorry your Niners didn't win. Bullcrap. It sucks. I feel bad for the Niner players. All of them probably are still reeling by the time you hear this podcast. And some of them may find this to be their saddest playing day of their lives, or at least a memory. I don't want to say scarred, but yeah. Now, strong people, NFL players, typically, I would presume would have the energy to take that pain and utilize it into the next year. But, you know, damn it. It's the week after the loss in question happened. I will give you time to mourn, okay? Sure, of course it was heart-wrenching. Neither team deserved to lose this game. That's what overtime is for, as I keep reminding you people. But you can't have a draw in the Super Bowl. You need to decide a champion. And Patrick Mahomes II, with his defensive football team, was just a teensy bit better. Andy Reid was just a bit better coach than Kyle Shanahan, which I had said would be a factor. If you had told me, hey, it's going to be the longest NFL game of all time, I would have picked the Chiefs. Granted, I couldn't have done it at 31-17 anymore. But all of that, and the thing you're going to complain about is that Kyle Shanahan, he was coaching scared. No. He was coaching prudent. Let your young man put the veteran in a corner. You would manage to force Patrick Mahomes II to get an interception. Your defense showed you when properly motivated, they can do things. Were they tired? Perhaps. But at the end of the day, Andy Reid did some good stuff. And it wasn't like, the Chiefs just went down the field in a single bleeding play. That's not what happened here. I can't be clearer about that. And by the way, I'm not even bringing up, what if Christian McCaffrey does not fumble the opening drive? That's a very interesting question. Do we even see overtime? Maybe. To see the fact, and let's be clear, the Niners defense got them to fourth down and then got them to third down on the first two series of the final drive. The Niners were extremely close to doing the job. But I mean, listen, when Patrick Mahomes II runs the football to be a hero, there's only so much you can do. We heard about everything that Rashee Rice was supposed to be as a factor. He gets the big third down after that run on 4th and 1 in overtime. Why? See, this is the problem with the media. First of all, you've proven beyond a reasonable doubt that you don't care about player safety. Now you've also shown you are incapable of carrying a story where positive should be the lead. Instead, all I'm looking at after the Super Bowl is, of course, Patrick Mahomes II is the MVP. And I'm not mad at that, by the way. I think that's a fine pick. There are years where the quarterback they pick is not the actual MVP. Please, once again, cue Joe Flacco. Full circle, right? But even looking at the stats here, who else would you even hint at giving it to for the Chiefs? Nobody's stats jump off the page. The Niners defense saw to that. And hurries aren't a sack you could use to get MVP honors. That's not a thing that they've adopted yet. So no, I listen. This Super Bowl was a quality football experience. And while the Chiefs have the rings and Patrick Mahomes II has the MVP, America, the world, was the winner. Most watched Super Bowl. You know what? For all you Taylor haters out there, the Swifties won the day on this. This is the most watched Super Bowl, and it was clearly the best one on the field as well. You know, if you don't like it, you better shake it off. See what I did there? Yeah. Anyways, that's all I'll talk about here too. Thanks for spending time with me here. Of course, this is going to be my digital self talking. I am actually at the Kia Center covering the Magic hosting the New York Knicks off of a back-to-back where they lost to the OKC Thunder last night, dedicating, of course, retiring, I should say, Shaq's jersey number 32, which I was not in attendance for, something wedding anniversary. Yeah, I'm whatever. You tribute somebody that's put up with this for 14 years. I get it. But listen, friends, an honor, joy, and privilege to have you aboard. Thank you for listening in. But until next time, everyone, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Threads, and Instagram at the SoTG. Find me on Facebook as the student of the game. Check out my writings with the Black and Gold Banneret. I will be covering UCF basketball this weekend for the men most specifically, so check that out. And of course, my work with the Jaguar Report and the 3-point conversion, as well as A7BN Sports, for whom I am covering the Magic tonight. And we'll be doing as well after this all-star break as well there. It'll be a double dip when the Jazz come to town with Taylor Hendricks, but that's a whole other question. So yeah, an honor, joy, and privilege. But until next time, class dismissed.